What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time, wherever you find yourself. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the First Presbyterian Church of Murfreesboro YouTube channel. This is your daily meditation for Thursday, October 1st, 2020. Can you believe it's October? In both houses that I grew up in one house, and then when I was coming into high school, we moved to another house in Bakersfield, both in Bakersfield. But both of my childhood homes had olive trees in their front yards. Very common tree out in California, an olive tree. They, sometime in the fall, is when the olives are really, it's producing olives on the tree. They're green, they're rock hard. They were a lot of fun to throw at my sister's or use in, slingshots. I never slingshotted my sister's with an olive, but and then by December, January or so, while they're still on the tree, they turn black and they fall and make a huge mess all over the yard or sidewalk or wherever. I remember one lady, when we lived in my first house as a kid, I think, she, at least one time, maybe two times, she came and picked the olives in the fall and cured them and then shared some with us. I don't think she gave us a whole jar, but I remember her coming back and offering us a green olive that had been cured from our tree. And I'm an olive lover. I love olives. Shout out to the olive lovers out there. Those of you who know me know that I like to cook, and I like things. I like to try new things and try doing things that aren't easy. Got into making sourdough bread. I still enjoy doing that, using a fermented sourdough starter, never adding yeast, but a fermented sourdough bread. Love that. So may not come as a big surprise that one year I wanted to try my hand at curing olives. That's actually why we lived here in Murfreesboro. I was back in Bakersfield for some reason. Around October, the tree was full of olives in my parents' front yard, and so I picked 2 grocery bags full of olives off of this tree. My niece Mallory helped me do that. I think she was the main helper. My apologies to any one of the other nieces that helped me. Anyway, brought them back to Murfreesboro in my luggage and then cured them. I don't want to get too nerdy on you, but curing olives is fascinating. And I used an ancient technique called water curing, where you just put a little slit in the olive skin, kind of cut into the flesh a little bit, and then you just soak them in water, which is the way the Greeks did it, I guess, for a long time. And you change the water every day for a long time. I want to say at least a month. You change all the water out, put fresh water in, all the water out, fresh water in. And over time, that fresh water leaches out a chemical that's present in the olive as it is on the tree that's no bueno. You don't want to eat them when they're like that. I think of those olive tree stories because the text that I want to share with you today and the stuff I want to talk about is all about olives and olive trees. So here we go. This is Psalm 52, verses 8 and 9. But I am like an olive tree thriving in God's house, trusting in God's never-failing love. Let's praise God for what he's done, always. God's name is good, so let's put our hope in it. Let's praise God together, no matter who is watching. But I am like an olive tree thriving in God's house. I love that. I also love that it begins with the word but. Doesn't matter what comes before it. But I am like an olive tree thriving in God's house. Oh, the beautiful song of the blue jay. Is that a blue jay? To me, and let's dive into the symbolic. What's going on here? To be an olive tree in God's house, but we are like an olive tree in God. You are like an olive tree in God's house. What comes to mind? To me, an olive tree is lasting. It is strong. It's fun to climb. It bears fruit. It provides shade. But what's interesting to me is that Olives, the fruit that an olive produces is not ready right off the tree. It's disgusting right off the tree. There's a compound in an olive called oleopurin or something like that. Oleopurin. Let me look it up. Oleuropane or something like that. Well, I don't know how to say it, but it's very bitter, very bitter. I mean, try biting into a green olive off a tree sometime if you've never. It's very bitter. It's almost a toxin to deter animals from eating them when they're not ready. It protects the olive from unwanted consumption, you know? In order for olives to be edible, to be enjoyed, they need to go through a process of detoxification, of cleansing, of purging, of rebirth, you might say. They need to be cured in order for them to be good. Before that, they're not very good. They're beautiful and they're present and available, but they're not delicious. They're not ready. You are an olive tree in the house of God. I think it's really neat to think of it this way, that the fruit that we produce, the things that we do and say, take this whatever direction you want, they aren't fully good until God has cured them. You know, olives aren't good off the tree yet until they're cured. God takes what we produce and makes it good. And that's very encouraging, especially when it feels like nothing we're doing is good, or nothing is good around us, or this person or that person is incapable of producing something good. God takes what we produce and makes it good. And that is very good news. We won't even get into how messy olive trees are, and how they need to be cleaned. You know, it has to be cleaned up. Olives need to be cleaned up when they fall. The ones that aren't harvested, it's an olive tree in God's house you are. So any messes we make too, God is actively, it's his house, cleaning those up. Good news. It's good news, folks. Hope it's encouraging to you. Have a blessed day. We'll see you next time.